is brought to you by Applebee's All-You-Can-Eat Riblets, Chicken Tenders, and Double Crunch Shrimp, starting at $14.99. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Straight Talk Wireless. Everything for less.
A blockbuster trade last week sent Russell Westbrook to the Rockets, where he is now reunited with former teammate James Harden. Harden and Westbrook have been first and second in points, assists, steals, field goals attempted, and usage rate over the past 5 seasons. So clearly, two very extremely dominant players who will now be expected to share that spotlight in Houston. So, Ryan,
good. I'm
what
glad
do you
you're
think?
starting with Ryan because he had a better seat to watch these guys' careers than most from the front. You really had courtside seats.
We're going to watch you play basketball one day. We're going to see how them two left feet work out, Max. We're going to see how
and two left arms.
Yeah, two left arms. We'll see how that works.
Is this pairing going to work out?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
Why.
It's absolutely going to work. You got to understand, when you look at Russell Westbrook, this was a guy, whatever you want to say about him, he led the NBA in assists last year. Look at James Harden. Led the NBA in scoring. Oh, what? They've never played together. We're playing fantasy basketball, as Will Kane would say. Guess what? They played together. They already have a coexisting relationship. And now they're put into a situation where they need each other. Houston underachieved last year. This was a squad that was actually supposed to beat the Warriors. They were the favorites with no KD. They came up short. The Thunder, many picked, especially myself and others, for them to come out of the West. Excuse me, not come out of the West, but to compete in the Western Conference Finals. They were a better team on paper, pound for pound, than the Portland Trailblazers, but they went out and got embarrassed. Time was up. So in all reality, I love the pairing from a motivational standpoint, from a schematic standpoint, and the fact that these guys fit. And a lot of people look at them and value them as stat stuffers, guys that play for the triple-double, guys that play for the consecutive streaks, if we're talking Harden. I see two winners, two guys who have unfinished business that want to get it done.
First of all, they did play together in the past, you're right, on the Oklahoma City Thunder when they were both babies. It's not entirely fair just to hold that as an example. But the fact of the matter is the OKC Thunder functioned better when they weren't on the court at the same time. Like, all the numbers showed that. That's the reason Harden was really the sixth man. That's the reason eventually one of them had to go. Because the team functioned better when they weren't on the floor.
It's not fair for you to say,
together.
bro. That's not fair for you to say.
Because?
It's not fair for you to say.
Because
the
why?
NBA was played different at that time than the way that it's played now.
I started out by saying they were babies. Yeah. I'm not holding it entirely against them. But
why are you saying it then?
Because you said they played together. Yeah, they played together.
There's an existing relationship.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, the question when you say, will it work? And you say yes. Like, are they great players who will win games? Well, of course. Daryl Morey's philosophy as GM of that team is, look, when you're surveying the landscape, get the special players. Figure out the rest later. Like, get special players on the same team. He's done that again. So they'll be good. But the question, will it work, is, will it work better than it did with CP3 to the point that the Rockets will be better than the Clippers, the Lakers, not to mention Denver, Utah, whoever at Portland in the West, which is very, very tough conference, even with the Golden State Warriors not there as the standard bearers at the moment because of the injuries and the defection of KD. So the answer to that is no. Westbrook Harden on the Rockets is not better than Harden CP3 to the point that this team is now better than the Lakers or Clippers, which means they're not going to get any farther in the playoffs, which means it doesn't work.
See, I actually agree with that. I'm not going to place them above the Lakers. I'm not putting them above the Clippers. But from a competitive standpoint, you cannot rule out that talent level. And the big consensus is James Harden is a ball hawk. He plays too much isolation basketball. Russell Westbrook is wild. He's out of control. He shoots 29% from three. The guy can't get it done. When I look at Russell Westbrook had to do last season, he played Russell ball. There was no system. He did whatever he wanted. Fair to say, right? If he wanted to jack up an early three, if he wanted to take
Paul
wild
George
shot.
got hurt. I actually thought Westbrook played in certain respects some of the best basketball of his career last year until Paul George got hurt. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a handful of buckshot, as they used to say, but his overall game, I thought, was basically team-oriented last year, to tell you the truth.
But my point is, I'm actually understanding the thought process between certain people. And some people say James Harden played a bunch of isolation basketball. He's a ball hog. James Harden paced himself and his team to win games. They needed every bit of that streak of 30-point games.
He's a team player.
Exactly. He did what he had to do.
I agree.
Russell Westbrook, and I brought this up on last show, the reason he shot 29% is because he had to sacrifice for Paul George. Keep in mind, Paul George had a MVP caliber year. He had arguably his best year as a professional playing alongside Russell Westbrook. Why? Because the normal shots that Russell Westbrook would take, whether they be three-pointers, layups, getting in rhythm, Russell's making sure he was setting guys up all around the horn, and thus will make James Harden in the Paul George role a better player.
But here's the problem. They're both they're two of the most ball-dominant players who ever lived. In an era where it favors a ball-dominant, ball handler, primary ball handler, they both are stat stuffers only insofar as you're mentioning. For grabbing rebounds that belong to Steven Adams or whatever. That doesn't matter. The bottom line is, did your team get the rebound or not, right? Russell Westbrook ain't costing you rebounds. They're both team-oriented players. I agree. Harden plays that way because it's the best interest of the team, and Westbrook believes it's in the best interest of the team for him to play that way. But here's the problem. Westbrook's going to have to be on ball because he can't shoot a lick. Ryan, he can't shoot the ball. He can do everything else, but he can't shoot the ball on offense. So he's got to be the primary ball handler, right? Would you agree? You just said to get Harden the shots.
Actually, I disagree, but for a different reason. The one thing I actually love about the D'Antoni system is it's still predicated on a 7-second offense. They still want early shots. What do we get on Russell Westbrook for taking early shots? Why did he shoot that? No management, no time and pace and control. Well, the D'Antoni system is based on principles rather than rules. So it's not, hey, man, we're running X, we're running fly, we're running zipper. It's get out and go, get out and run. That's Russell Westbrook basketball. By him knowing where his shots are going to come from, having the comfortability to play off ball, Paul George wasn't the greatest ball handler, not the greatest creator. He's going to be more comfortable. He's going to shoot better from three. So they're going to improve. Here's another element. These two guys couldn't come off the floor, Max. When they got tired, they literally couldn't come out the game to where James Harden would have to be tapping D'Antoni. Get me back in the game. I got to go back in. We're going down by 10. We're going down by 20. I've got to play. We saw this the year before, not necessarily with Paul George, but with Russell Westbrook, where he couldn't come off the floor either. He needed help. So these guys are going to depend on the rest. There's this analytic that says, hey, James Harden was the slowest moving player in the NBA. He and LeBron James, why? He had to pace himself.
Right, but real quick.
Now, on the heels of that point, though, do these two need each other to be successful?
Let me put it this way, to get back to Daryl Morey to answer your question. Daryl Morey knows, let's get special players and we'll figure it out later. That's the most important thing. The real issue is CP3 is in decline physically. To the point where that contract is a problem. You may say so is Westbrook, but Westbrook is younger and much more athletic. So really what Morey did here was turn CP3 and a little extra into a superior player at this point in their careers. In that sense, they got better. My whole issue is, did they get better enough to overcome the other teams in the West? No, they didn't.
I don't know.
This is a second-round playoff team still. And by the way, not inconceivable they could get knocked out in the first round, but it's a second-round playoff team.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're the Lakers or Clippers, you want to see Houston in the first or second round? Or did you want to see CP3's Houston? You definitely don't want to see Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Houston.
And if we're agreeing with Daryl Morey's point, and this is the way you win in the NBA, you win with stars. Figure it out later. That's what they did. They got a bona fide star in Russell.
Everything that's transpired in L.A., did the Rockets even have a shot to become better than those two teams?
It was unlikely that they could, because what happened in L.A. this year was extraordinary. Both the Lakers and the Clippers got so much better immediately that it was unlikely. So it's a point well taken. Westbrook, the whole thing with him, all the hand-wringing we do and the armchair psychology we do about Westbrook. Is he a winning player? Da-da-da-da-da. Because I've always said, play to play. Play to play. I go from thinking, it's the best player I've ever seen, literally, to you can't win with him. Play to play. And really it comes down to he doesn't shoot it well enough. If Westbrook had a pure shot, no one would be talking about how many shots he took.
What if he had a pure coach?
Well, time will tell now.
And I'm not getting on Billy D, but him and Billy D, they ain't mixed.
Right.
All right, well, we already spoke, clearly two different players than they were when they were teammates before, but they did have 152 wins during the 3 seasons they played together. That was the 4th most in the NBA over that span.
You hear that?
Very different.
You hear that?
Okay.
You hear that?
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors now, but coming up, Melvin Gordon is telling his team he wants them to charge it. Should the Bolts pay the man? Keyshawn Johnson joins the debate coming up next.
My husband and I are remodeling our kitchen. Do you know any good contractors?
Maybe.
Oh, that's great. Can you find me the highest rated pros, then book me the best one for the job?
You can't expect your neighbors to do everything HomeAdvisor can. So just ask HomeAdvisor.
Would you rather have a battery that delivers extra life or extra power?
I have the whole beach to come. Extra life.
I'm going to disagree. Extra power.
Extra life.
Extra power.
Extra life.
No way. Extra power.
Extra life.
Good news. Versus Copper Top, new Duracell Optimum can do both. Extra life in some devices, or extra power in others. Because both is better than not both.
Chili's 3 for $10 makes dinner so easy. Everyone in your family is only $10. Even your kid's friend who's always around at $10 a head. Trevor can stay 3 for $10, baby bucks, baby bucks. Together we Chili's, oh yeah, baby, yeah.
We're reporters from the New York Times. This melting pot of impacted species everywhere is going to get touched by climate change.
That rhythm you feel is everywhere. It's in our music. It's in our feet. Our rhythm never stops, and we need a beer that keeps up with it. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer that goes with our rhythm.
Now get 50% off all Domino's pizzas when you order online. 50% off sausage pizzas, handmade pan pizzas, even barbecue, banana. This week only, get 50% off the menu price of 34 million pizza combinations at Domino's.com.
The hamsters run hopelessly in their cage, content on their endless quest to nowhere. But perhaps this year, a more exhilarating endeavor awaits. Defy the laws of human nature at the Summer of Audi sales event. Get exceptional offers now.
Thanks for the ride along, Captain. I've never been in one of these before, even though Geico is... Oh, here we go. Here we go.